Hey, what's up? If you're just joining us, I'm making a high fantasy emergent gameplay RPG inspired by games like Kenshi and Dwarf Fortress, but with real-time, player-controlled combat, and unfortunately for anyone who owns property in the area, stinky green goblins. It aims to create the feeling I love most in RPGs, which is barely scraping by, taking massive, meaningful losses for miscalculated decisions that don't quite result in the end of the game, but instead give you a deeper hole to climb out of. And I just made an enormous decision about the future of the game. It's the type of decision that has you say, what the f*** am I doing? What the f*** is it all for? You see, there's one part of this game that I always thought was kind of charming. The characters are flat 2D sprites rendered from 3-dimensional models. It's something I did in homage to the games I played as a child, where computer performance necessitated that art style. It's an easy enough thing to pull off for entire characters, but it quickly becomes an exercise in masochism when you add layered equipment, limbs that can be removed without the character dying, and all the animation complexity that comes with a game where anything could happen. It took a Herculean effort, all so you could cut a character's arms off and watch him run away, a la Jigsaw. I love it, but a lot of people really don't. And if you're one of them, I've got good news for you. I made this 3D. Yes, folks, I'm a failure. And a fraud. And I'm bad at sex, I've been told, but in all seriousness, this isn't to placate the people that won't stop complaining about the angle of my beautiful, perfect sprites. It's mostly because I'm clearly on some kind of spectrum, and I for some reason decided long ago to endlessly toil in a personal hell of my own design, doing and redoing work in an infinite loop of Sisyphean torture. But so what? So the boulder rolled back down the hill. That's what the boulder does, folks. You can't go getting hopeful the boulder will one day do something else. So I deleted a whole load of stuff, exported our goblin, and threw it into the game. Of course, it's at least slightly more complex than doing that. I had him swimming around for a bit and hovering in this pose I didn't make, but eventually I sorted it out. So let's take a look at all the beautiful things every other game developer has been taking for granted that I can do now that I'm not working with sprites. Now I want to preface this by promising the animations will improve. Ugly animations are like watching a TV show with bad acting, and it really doesn't sit right with me. But for now, check this out. Through the magic of blend trees, we can extremely easily recreate our in-combat animation system where the character faces the mouse. And now, strafing diagonally comes for free, simply by blending the forward and sidestep animations. Another huge benefit is that we can use animation masks to separate parts of the body. This means we can draw and sheath our weapon while moving. Better yet, we can attack while moving too. You can see how this alone is enough to breathe some life into the combat that hasn't changed since I tried to make this game in college 8 years ago, which just draws a cube and deals damage to whatever's inside. Pretty f***ing lame. Now we can have multiple 3-dimensional hitboxes that move with the character, which is exactly what we need to take the limb damage system to the next level. I whipped up another quick few animations to do some combat experimentation. A top-down chop, a slice that moves left to right, and right to left, and finally a thrust that stabs at the stomach. You can also hold your attack while you move around and release to perform the swing, or cancel the attack instead. It will look and feel a little clunky when you first start out and then become more responsive as you get stronger. Of course, I also created the equivalent block directions for the left, right, up, and forward. Now, let me just take a moment to describe to you the extent of how stupid I've been pursuing this sprite aesthetic all this time. You can see the character drawing and sheathing his weapon here. Start to finish, this probably took me an hour to implement the entire system. And now every single weapon with the same animations is barely more effort than dragging and dropping a file. I used to have to render sprites for every single animation and for every single character that could use that weapon, which is why you've never seen the human character wield this goblin machete, because with just humans and goblins, it was already such a pain in the ass to add content. I just never got around to doing it. People warned me in the comment section and I just ignored them. Poor, beautiful souls trying to save me from myself. Anyways, next it was just a matter of tying the hitbox collisions to the existing damage system, trading in the random limb selection with the specific limb of the hitbox, and then suddenly we have a game again. But it wouldn't be the same game without dividing mobs into pieces. By spawning game objects and passing meshes around, we can recreate our limb removal system pretty easily, as it turns out. And since we're actually targeting the correct limb from our attack, it's even more satisfying. With all of this completed, I spawned goblins named after my lovely Patreon subscribers and started having some fun, just like the good old days. And hopefully you can start to imagine all the exciting things that I no longer dread adding that would have been completely impossible with sprite sheets, or just really difficult. Don't forget to comment and tell me everything you love or hate about my life's work, which has certainly not become my entire identity and is definitely not the only remaining driving force in my life, because that, of course, are these amazing Patreon subscribers. But if you want to support me without money, you could also just like the video. Peace out, everybody.